Welcome to Three Questions, brought to you by the Democrats' 18th Legislative District. I'm your host, Wil Fuentes. Folks, as you may know, shit's rolling down the hill from Washington, D.C., which impacts our state, impacts our counties, and impact our cities. On this show, we bring community leaders and local politicians that know about the issues that impact our community members. On our show today, we have Democratic State Representative Sharon Wylie for the 49th Legislative District. Representative Wylie, welcome to the show. It's great to have you here today.
And I'm Sharon to everybody.
Okay. Welcome, Sharon. Thank you. Question number one. In the most basic terms, what has caused Washington State's budget shortfalls?
Thank you for the question. It's a big discussion to get that kind of understanding. It starts, the first layer is that we have an upside down regressive tax system. It used to be the worst in the country. Now it's like fifth worst because of some things that we were able to do over the last several years.
Right.
Our upside down tax system is very regressive. The taxes that we have hit lower income people much harder than they hit higher income people. Mm-hmm. They hit emerging small businesses harder than they hit big businesses. And we have a patchwork of, because we have no income tax, we have a patchwork of annoying taxes that everybody hates to make up the difference. That's thing number one, is the system. Thing number two is we've had a unique series of events in the last 40 years. We've become a high-tech state in a tax system that was designed to be more rural and agrarian and 100 years ago. So we have a system that wasn't designed for where we are today. We had COVID, which created supply chain issues, and it heavily loaded our sales tax revenue because people were buying new TVs, new washing machines, new computers to work at home, remodeling, all of that sort of thing. That's done.
We were spending a lot of money.
That was a big part of our revenue that helped us survive. So we've got that piece.
Right.
And we've invested in the things that people need and want. The Democrats have been in control for a while. We've invested in long-term care to buy people time when they have a loved one who's becoming disabled and needing help. We've invested in family leave. We've invested in special ed. We've invested in a lot of things that are appropriate for our state and are popular. People want them and people are willing to pay for those things. But we ran into a crunch, and there are peculiarities which we can talk about later about our budgeting process that are hard to understand but really play into this. If we had Idaho's system, conservative state right next door, we would never have the kind of crises that we have now. But our state is very resistant to an income tax. Idaho has all three. Oregon has 2 out of 3, and I served in the Oregon legislature a long time ago.
Yeah, you did.
And so Oregon hates sales tax as much as we hate income tax. And there's issues with being a border county as well, but you have an idea of how complicated it is. But it's not rocket science, and I believe it's part of my job to help people understand it.
Great. Well, thanks for that insight. And it sounds like we're going to have some challenges, and we'll get back to that question in a moment. All right, question number 2. We know that some members of the legislature are considering moving forward with a funding formula that shifts more of the tax burden to the wealthiest Washingtonians. Now, my question to you is, are you one of those legislators? And what would that plan look like?
I'm fully on record for the last 15 years as being in favor of a less regressive system where there's less of a burden on lower and middle income people and where wealthier people pay a bigger percentage than they have in the past because it's very unequal. The person who waits at your table at a restaurant pays more percentage in taxes than a person who's a billionaire. And that's not right.
No,
and we've made progress. It's been hard won. When I first was appointed in 2011, we started working on a capital gains tax. We got that done a few years ago, and a lot of capital gains profits are immune, exempt. It doesn't kick in until a very, very high level. And so we are looking at everything. Everything is going to be on the table because we are in a crisis, a budget crisis. Last session, we balanced our budget by roughly equal amount of cuts and new revenue. And we have to, if we do anything, it has to get through the House, the Senate, and get the governor's signature. Anything brand new takes a long time to implement and to withstand court challenges. So everything is looked at. I've been on the finance committee that looks at every revenue package, and there's not much that we haven't seen or analyzed, and there will be more. And so we will look at everything, see what has the votes, see what the people will accept, and then look at efficiencies to balance it out. And maybe delays. New programs that hadn't started didn't get started, even if they were necessary and popular. So we're having to balance this. We need to do a lot more communicating with people. People need to know what those choices are, and they need to speak up to us. We hear from people who are angry and have a strong opinion sometimes, but we don't hear from everybody. And so we have more ways that people can speak to us than we ever have, but we have some very hard decisions to make.
Thank you, Sharon, for taking care of working families. And to your point, I think it's something that needs to be done sooner than later. Have those folks that earn a heck of a lot of money pay their fair share.
Exactly.
So thank you for doing the work. Question number 3. Sharon, looking forward 5-10 years from now, is it likely that we will continue to have budget challenges in the state of Washington?
There are answers to that we have control over, and answers that we do not have control over. I couldn't get up in the morning if I were not an optimist. So I think that because we're in a crisis with healthcare and jobs and AI and a whole lot of other things that are impacting us, we're going to have opportunities to make some changes. We budget in a 4-year cycle, and I was alluding to that earlier. Other states do a 2-year cycle. So if it's bad right now, we have to budget as if it's going to be bad for 4 years. So that influences what we do. And we don't do deficit spending. We have invested more than other states in Medicaid in order to spread the peanut butter and make sure every kid and more than kids have health care. We took all of those Medicaid dollars from the feds and added to it. If the bottom gets pulled out of that, our people are in a world of hurt, and we have to figure out how to do that. To me, that's an opportunity to look at regional healthcare systems with Oregon, Washington, and Alaska, perhaps. I think that we have to look at everything possible, and I trust that our leaders are looking at those things. I know that there's a lot going on that we won't see because it's not ready. So I think that depending on what the economy does, depending on who our next president is, depending on how damaged our systems are by what I fondly call as the muskrats that got into our IT systems after the election last year, we're going to have to build better systems. We're going to have to help our population, our people, our voters make decisions about what kind of government they want and how they're going to engage. And that means taking a look at what is the government's role in healthcare long term. There's opportunities there. What kind of jobs do we want to have? What do we want to do to train people for a lifetime of meaningful work and living, and educate our kids and educate people that are returning to work? I believe that a lot of us are thinking ahead. We have a short-term crisis. I don't want to minimize the seriousness, but I think that our state is well positioned. We have less pension debt than almost any other state. We have the best funded pension system. The world looks at that as economic health. We have well-educated workforce. We have businesses that their product is marketed worldwide, and we've treated them very well. We don't want to lose them, but we've treated them very well, and they've become healthy based on the infrastructure that regular people have invested in. So all of those are very important in shaping our future. But we, those of us that are thinking ahead, those of us that are wanting a less regressive tax system, we are soundly reelected, and I believe that's because that's what people want. They want people that will think about the future, that will think about what working people need, that will make sure that we make our tax system more fair and just, and that we make sure that we're creating a clean world for our grandchildren and our children.
Yeah, Sharon, thank you so much for doing that work, for being a leader in our community. And we appreciate you having you here.
Well, I appreciate the community that trusts me, and best job in the world. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Sharon. Folks, that is our show for today. If there's anyone that you'd like to have on the show, please comment below. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell.